Hello everyone, and welcome to Voice It Youth Talk Show, the youth talk show that is everyone talking. Today we're going to be tackling a very important topic, a poison that has infiltrated our society today that might actually be a problem to the future of this nation itself. I am Brendan Chinembiri, your host, and there is my co-host.
So today we're going to be delving deeper into drugs and substance abuse. Joining us today is our highly decorated doctor, Dr. Ndebele, who's got 9 years of experience in specializing with psychiatry, and she also has got a lot of experience in drugs and substance abuse, dealing with dementia as well, which deals with the brain. So she's the right person who can help us with this issue. Everyone, Dr. Ndebele.
Hello viewers, thank you for coming and tuning in into this program. Hello Brendan, and how are you, Nokukanya? We are very happy that finally there is a voice that has decided to scream from all the corners of the world to speak the issue that has been a problem in our society, which is substance abuse, substance use. I just wanted to demystify a myth that maybe when we are dealing with drugs and substance, there is a moral flaw associated with an individual, because I have seen that it has been the real reason why many people have not been coming out, Noko, is because they feel that when they come out, it will look like you don't have manners, you're weak, you can't control your habits. But it is important that there is a shift of horizon into understanding that substance misuse and abuse is an illness that needs medical care, social care, as well as social support that we give to everyone in our family. So basically, when we are talking about drug addiction or substance abuse, we are discussing the matters where there is a substance that is taken with an intention of using it, proper use, but there is an overflow into misuse. So any substance, Brendan, that you take and it alters your brain function until a state where there is habit formation, what we call dependence, then that substance is a potential substance for addiction. Yes, so addiction is actually a spectrum. We have use spectrum. Someone is just taking diazepam, maybe for the sake of, some they take it for sleep issues, though it's not really for sleep issues. Someone is taking alcohol for use purposes, Noko, but during the course of using, then they get hooked in addiction. So there are three major components that makes an individual to be called an addiction individual or an addict. When we now have a consumption of something or a use of something that is habit forming, and then we have social dysfunction. That individual is no longer able to interact with other people well. They easily get agitated, they easily get angry, they don't respond well to family cues like dinner, like eating with family as well. That is a social dysfunction. It is part and parcel of the addict package. There is also occupational dysfunction when we look at substance. Besides the brain, the individual is no longer able to do what is expected of their age. So you will look at a situation where we have a 24-year-old who is doing nothing, spends the whole day at home, or if they even go to work, they cannot keep the 8 to 5 rule. They can't work, they easily get tired, or they are always late because they overslept because of the substance that they have taken. So we bring all that together. We actually now are introducing a financial component to it, where we are saying you are spending a lot of money on acquiring the substance that you are taking, and you are neglecting other areas of your life. You're no longer paying rent. You can't even buy toothpaste for yourself. So you can't even take care of yourself, which what we call self-caring habit. So when we look at it, we've got an individual, even if they are not tearing their clothes, even if they are not walking and singing in the street, but this individual can't stay in a family. This individual can't maintain a job. This individual can't stay with money. We call it there is substance misuse disorder in that kind of an individual. So that's basically, I have also had a lot of patients asking me at the hospital that I haven't taken Mbanje for 10 years. How come I'm coming to you today and you are saying it's substance-induced psychosis? So it is important that the public is aware that you can use a substance. During the use, there is brain damage that occurs, but it can be subclinical brain damage. Then you stop, but the brain damage continues even if you have stopped. So 10 years down the line, you are coming with the issues of cannabis that you took 10 years ago. So it is actually possible as well.
On that note, Doctor,
yeah.
So what I want us to make clear is, can you please make the viewers know why exactly we're here and how much of a problem drug and substance abuse has been, like what we've been seeing? Give us the statistics.
Brendan, it's been a problem. I'm working at the second largest referral hospital south of Sahara. And we've been having an increase in admission in matters related with substance. So I would want to call it the pandemic of today, because a lot of the youth, even the elderly now, they are being caught in substance misuse related psychiatric conditions. Yes.
So as you can see, viewers, this is a very big problem that we are facing, the problem of drug and substance abuse. Catch us on our next episode where we have a question and answer segment where we're going to answer the questions that are being asked by young people or older people who have their own children dealing with drugs and substance abuse, where we'll have our doctor who is going to be answering all those questions. Please send through your questions on the WhatsApp number that is on the screen, and make sure to catch us on our next episode. Thanks for watching. Hello everyone, and welcome to Voice It Youth Talk Show. Welcome to our question and answer segment where we have our doctor here, and we're going to be asking some of the most key questions on the information that she's been giving us from our previous episode. I am your host, Brendan Chinembiri, and this is my co-host.
No, and this is Voice It Youth Talk Show. So today joining us is our doctor, as you said, who's going to be assisting us in this issue of drugs and substance abuse, as she's got much experience in it. So, doctor, why do you think people are scared to come out about their issue based on drugs and substance abuse?
Thank you, Noko, for that question. Essentially, it's been our social support system that has been lacking infrastructure to support somebody who has got substance misuse. There is an issue of stigmatization. There is also a moral component I had spoken about in our first episode, that a parent or a guardian knowing that their child or their relative is in substance misuse, they don't want to be associated with them because it looks like they failed as a parent, or it will look like they didn't train their child well. So you find the person who is in the doldrum of substance misuse would rather die alone, but preserving, a family name, but still going down because of the effects we were discussing about.
So I've had people come to me saying, what exactly is wrong with alcohol? Because someone says to me, I've been taking alcohol for the past 15 years. Nothing has happened to me. My grandfather has been taking alcohol for more than 50 years and he died at 87. So it then brings a question. Is drug and substance abuse really, a problem, and who is more likely to be affected by drug and substance abuse?
Thank you, Brendan. I would love to answer your question in two parts. First of all, when we are looking at a substance, we are not looking at alcohol as a name. We look at the psychoactive component in alcohol. So you will realize alcohol is, we've got lagers, it's an alcohol. We've got spirits, it's an alcohol. We've got some, they call it masese, ingwebu, it's alcohol as well. We've got njengu, it's alcohol. So it becomes umbrella for somebody to say, I drink alcohol. But from a practitioner's perspective, I want to know which type of alcohol do you have, do you take? And then when you tell me, I will know the alcohol content. Because in alcohol, this psychoactive component is ethanol, which is the alcohol that damages. You also look at cannabis. When somebody tells me I'm taking cannabis, I go a step further. I want to know which type of cannabis are you taking.
Cannabis is weed, by the way, for those who, don't know.
So the weeds are different. There is what they call the bush type. It has got less THC. THC is the component in cannabis, which is psychoactive. That's the component that damages the brain, that interacts with the brain. The rest is just smoke and other things that are there. But THC component becomes my worry when somebody says I'm taking cannabis. Skunk has got more THC per one joint compared to bush per one joint. So all that matters when we are talking about substance. I would also want to give, there are other substances that are socially acceptable, like coffee. Yes. So somebody says, look, I'm better. I drink coffee, and this one is worse because they're taking njengu. But in coffee, I'm looking at caffeine component. Caffeine is the substance in coffee. The other things, they don't affect the brain, but the caffeine component interact with the brain.
So decaf is good?
It depends with, as you can see, when we are talking about groceries, people are in business. Sometimes it can be decaf, but still having above limits caffeine in them. So it is important that as a society, we are aware of the reference values for caffeine. If you're taking caffeine, that will not cause a state of tolerance in your brain. Yes, and then secondly, our substances are classified. We've got substances that are called stimulants. Stimulants are the substances which, when you take them, whichever way, whether you smoke or you drink that component, it awakens, it arouses your brain above the normal acceptable limits. Examples of stimulants is our crystal meth. Crystal meth is a stimulant. When you take it, you can't sleep, because it keeps the brain on an aroused state, and then your brain gets to a state of fatigue. You don't rest, you don't sleep, because it's a stimulant.
So is coffee and switch and dragon, are they also stimulants?
Yes, they are stimulants because of the caffeine component in them. They are stimulants, they're classified as stimulants. Yes. We also have some which are called CNS depressants. Instead of waking up the brain, they make the brain sleep. Yes, so one of the CNS depressants is alcohol. It's a CNS depressant. So if you have somebody who says, Dr. Ndebele, I'm taking alcohol and I also take crystal meth. These are two substances working at the brain at different levels. Crystal meth is alerting the brain. Alcohol is depressing the brain. So both those psychoactive components from a clinical perspective have to be dealt with differently. And then we have the the Benylin that people, the cough syrups that people are taking. In them, there is the opiates. Yes, the opiates, when they come to the brain, they don't work the same way as alcohol. They don't work the same way as the crystal meth. They actually have got their own way of working in the body, and they give a euphoric effect differently. That what makes substance misuse in my area of practice difficult, because you have one person taking 4 substances that are unrelated, doing different things to the brain, and you have to consolidate everything and come up with a clinical criteria that works for that individual. Yeah.
So we've got someone who has been taking alcohol, let's say someone my age, they take alcohol and they take cannabis, and they are not really seeing the effects, and they take it maybe with the elderly, and they are not really seeing what's happening and what's wrong. How do you bring them into light of how this can be a danger to them and how they can slowly see that this is actually a problem?
Thank you very much for that question. It's important for the viewers to understand that most of the substances, very few of them has got immediate effects. Crystal meth is one of them that gives you immediate effects, but some of them, they are long-term. The damage is slowly but surely, to an extent that you can go to a stage of no reverse stage. So it is important that when you are in substance, you also come in for assessments, because in our next segment, I would have wanted us to discuss on at-risk mental states. There are people who are at risk of actually getting into psychiatric conditions because of substances, and then others might get away with it.
All right, as you heard the doctor, on our next segment, we already have a very key topic that we're going to be discussing. Thank you so much for watching. Catch us on our next episode where we delve deeper into the question and answer segment. But the difference is on this one, we're going to be having live youth who are going to be sending questions through to our WhatsApp number, and you're going to be listening to those questions. You can also send through your questions to the number that is on the screen. Thank you for watching, and catch us on our next episode. Hello everyone, and welcome to our final segment of the question and answer, where we have Doctor here. So Doctor, we have a situation where someone has chosen to stop taking drugs, right? They've seen that drugs are a problem and they've taken an active part in saying, I don't want this anymore. What are the cases, the biggest issues when it comes to withdrawal?
Thank you very much for that question. When we are talking about someone choosing to stop taking drugs, there are three things that we consider. We also consider the substance that they have been taking. If you have been taking substances like alcohol, crystal meth, even the opiates, it's not really advisable to do it at home because of the issue of withdrawals I'm going to discuss. And also there is a component of the duration that somebody has been taking. Someone who has been taking substances for 10 years does not stop in the same way someone has been taking substances for 3 months because of the relapses that also occur. So in that setup, we'll be wanting to know if they have got a good social fiber in their family to help them walk through the pains of cravings as well as the withdrawals. Addressing the issue of withdrawals, Brandon, we've got mild withdrawals, where it's just a headache and then you just feel unease. We call it mild withdrawals, and people normally have got some concoctions that they use at home. I'll get some black tea and then I'll feel much better. But withdrawal is best dealt with at a medical facility. We've got conditions like delirium tremens. They are life-threatening. Those are the ones that the society normally calls, I found the person had just knocked and died. It's when the body itself fails to manage withdrawals. So we always advise that in a state of withdrawals, an individual must go to the health facility, especially if it's alcohol-related, opiates-related, like Bronclia and Benylin, come to a facility. Then we do a process called detox to actually make you deal with the withdrawals, but in a safe environment.
All right.
Yes.
That makes sense. So let's say, for example, I'm at home and I've been addicted to drugs. Has it ever been an issue of how do I include, like you said, having a good social fiber in the family? How do I include this social fiber?
Thank you very much for that question. Dealing with substance, I would love to express to the public that it's a multidisciplinary approach. There is no one size fit all. We always would want to include other medical professionals in this area. We've got social workers, that we can include to bring the family together, go back. Because there are some people, Noku, who are into drugs, not because they want to be, but because socially at home, things that are happening, they are sending them to substances for leisure, to forget what's happening at home so that I can be intoxicated and numb the pain. So it is of no use to keep sending the individual back to that environment, output in quotes, toxic. And then it's a cycle. They are still in the doldrum. Somebody hasn't pulled them. So in that aspect, we need to include social workers. They go down where the individual is coming from. What are the issues? Is she being raped, if it's a female? Is the guy undergoing a childhood adversity at home? Then they address social factors at home. We also have a situation where it is like the at-risk mental states. There are people who have got bipolar. They have got this in their brain that they cannot control whatever it is that they do. So they always do it without inhibition. If they drink too much. If they laugh too much. Whatever it is they do is too much. So we also address it that way. So at the end of the day, we want to bring in the family. We want to bring in the medical side. We want to bring in the occupational therapist on that side to get that guy back at work. Get that guy, yes. We also want to bring the social therapist on this side to join in the family.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a question that just came into my mind while you were speaking, but I want to direct it to Nokanya because she's another youth. So would you be comfortable, let's say you've been addicted to drugs, would you be comfortable in letting your mother help you to let go of those drugs?
In what way? What exactly do you mean, help me?
How highly are you more likely to be murdered when they find out that you've been taking weed?
I feel like sometimes, as she said, it is important to involve our families so that they can help us. But also I feel like they will judge in a way if you're now telling your mother, oh, I'm addicted to drugs, you know? Yeah. Yes, so, but I feel like we should have talks and be free with our families. So personally, I would be comfortable getting help from my mother. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with we are looking at a new day for psychiatry and substance misuse where children and the youth are free to discuss their struggles with their parents. There are ways in which we treat you from substance misuse by actually reducing quantity, because quantity is a component of which is important in diagnosing substance misuse or addiction per se. The more you drink, the high chances that you quicken your way to addiction without a return road. So sometimes we'd want to say, okay, you are in addiction, you are taking 15 cigarettes a day. Let's start by cutting 5, working with you. You have the willpower, but sometimes the cravings sends you to the 15 my body is used to. But including your mom makes it better. So mom stays with the 15 cigarettes of the day, and then we remove the 5 and we say for the next coming 1 week, let him take 10. So she calls you in the morning, 8 a.m., your 2 cigarettes are ready, and then in the afternoon she gives you 2, like that, until you get down to an extent of 1 and even 0. You come up well. Yeah.
Just to say that could never be my mother. I think belt and button stick would be my mother's methods. That was actually just a notification. Our lines are actually open for questions from the youth. I have a question here, a youth from Hillside, who says, how can I help a friend who is struggling with substance abuse?
Oh, that one is quite difficult because it depends on these 2 things. There is a person who is in substance and has insight. Insight is knowing that I need help. I'm in a problem and I can't deal with it on my own, I need help. Then we also have got youth B, who is in substance but feels I'm okay, I don't need help. It's these people who they're just worrying about my drinking, it's about them, but as of me, I'm fine. So it's difficult to get youth B who thinks they're fine to seek for help. But youth A who feels like I need help, the starting position is to visit a mental health institution where you will have access to what we call psychologists. Psychologists are therapists that will sit with you and draw up your life from the time you were born and address the root issues of why you found yourself in substances. So you'll be talking about your struggles, what sent you to substances, why do you think you can't come out, what is your availability of substances like? Because if the beer is always in your mother's fridge, it's difficult to say you want to stop when you're opening the fridge, you want water, there is beer, and then you say, oh, a sip, and then you remember, I want to come out. So all those things the psychologist can address. It is only when the psychologists feel like there are psychiatric symptoms that they can bring to us medical practitioners and say, I think maybe we now have got anxiety-related disorders, we now have got mood-related disorders, or even frank psychosis in that part. So youth A can get help through those channels, but youth B now, sometimes we need to wait until they are now a danger to themselves or to other people for us to intervene.
So
Yeah.
if I've got my friend who's partaking in drugs, the first step would be to try and make them realize how
Yes.
they are becoming a danger.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so a youth here from Culture Park, anonymously, is saying, how can I resist peer pressure to use drugs?
Thank you very much for that question. They are also birthed to it age-related. There is a peer pressure at primary school. There is peer pressure at secondary school. There is peer pressure at adult perspective. But it all boils down to usage of time during the working hours of the day, where we have body machinery ready to make an individual work. You realize that when you use most of your time on things that are important in your life, either you're at work or you are at school, you have limited time to interact with friends. But if you are doing nothing the greater part of the day, you get bored and then you have to look for friends, and then friends become your leisure, friends become your entertainment. It becomes difficult to resist your entertainment, yes, because it's part of your reward system. So I would advise that the youth should make use of the 8 to 5, doing what we call, or engaging in activities of daily living that are meaningful, and leave a bit of time to interaction for leisure and social activities.
As you can see, dear viewers, drug and substance abuse is a topic that is really detrimental in our society. Keep sending through your questions because we have the doctor here to answer them, but make sure to catch us on our next episode where we discuss more detrimental issues on drugs and substance abuse. Thank you for watching, and catch you next time.